off stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Played a lot in the event. Okay, so first things first. Let's just start walking and finding each other, and I'm going to start describing things. As many of the people who are watching this game, watching this right now, are probably aware, Dead by Daylight, if you can find the shack, that's what we'll meet up to start. Dead by Daylight is what is a procedural. Its maps are procedurally generated. Procedurally generated means that while there is some randomness to it, hi Lydia, that you're going to see a lot of the same elements on every single map. Did not mean to start a chase, but you're gonna see a lot of the same elements on a lot of the on all the maps. So, for example, these elements are called tiles. Each tile has a unique. Hey, Canuck, thanks for coming out. Each tile is set out in a unique way. However, there are several types of common tiles that we can identify. If you look on screen right now, you will see the 7 common tiles. These tiles appear in most maps, not necessarily every single map, and there are some maps that have tiles that are unique to them. But we're just going to be talking about the common tiles today. So there are there's 7 of them. First one, the first group is co-op. So technically there are 5 types of tiles, but 2 of those tiles have 2 different variations to them. So the 4 wall has a bad pallet and good pallet variation. The jungle gym has a 2 different variations of it, and then the LT wall, the shack, and the single pallet tile. Even in maps that don't necessarily have, like if we come over here and we walk in, oh, you can't see because I have my common tiles up. If we walk over here towards this tile over here, hey, look, hatch. Don't close it this time, Patrick. I guess you can't see through the walls of Coldwind Farm anymore. That's disappointing.
Yeah, like just very little amounts.
It's very little amounts. But anyway, these tiles, you'll see kind of similar tile setups even in like indoor maps that don't necessarily have, these type of structures that we're looking at. So anyway, Lydia, looking at your cheat sheet I sent you, can you tell me what type of tile we're currently in?
I mean, this one to me looks like that. Was that straight wall one? Hang on, let me make this bigger so I can see the single pallet one.
Yes,
like a little bit of a variation on this wall.
Yeah,
right
a little bit different, because it is in Coldwind Farm, but it is, yes, this is a single pallet tile. So let me pull up my notes to talk about a single pallet tile since we're here. So with the single pallet tile, so its defining features, if we come look here, is that it has a pallet and then a short side and a long side. And then it has over here this L wall and then this kind of C-shaped structure in the middle. And this is kind of what I always look for, is I look for this C-shaped structure, and that lets me know, okay, for certain I am in a single pallet tile. So with the single pallet tile, the important thing is that there's really nothing to use here and that helps in a chase other than the singular pallet. So with the singular pallet, once the pallet is gone, it's worthless. So the thing about this is trying to preserve the pallet as long as possible, but also really not trying to stay here. Now, let's say I am a noob killer, and you go ahead and drop that tile, that pallet. So the thing that you want to do as a survivor is you want to be running around this long wall here. So you run along that long wall, and if I just chase you this way, yep, you go around the short wall. As long as there are no major missteps, you will be able to go and vault this pallet forever, as I just run around here in this circle. Now let's say I turn around and start coming around the other direction. Exactly, you just do what you just did. You just turn around, you keep running, you vault again, and you force me to play. As the survivor, you want to force the killer to play along this long wall, and as long as you run it, there is nothing that I can do until I come and break this pallet. And now this tile is completely worthless. If you run me around that long wall, I will gain Bloodlust eventually and be able to get a hit on you. So that's it about this tile. In a single pallet tile, as a killer, you should want to be kicking this ASAP. Otherwise, because the pallet is the only thing that makes this wall strong. Do you have any questions about the single pallet tile, Lydia?
But basically, these two extra walls over here, they don't really do much of anything,
No,
right?
they don't really do much of anything. You can use them for like mind games a little bit, but they mostly just serve as like. Sometimes you'll find a totem that spawns in here. Maybe there will be a locker that spawns around here, but other than that, they really don't do anything. All right, let's run to the next jungle gym and see if we can find out what this jungle gym is. Okay. So what type of what is this? This is a jungle gym, but do you know which variation it is?
Okay, let me see if I can freaking. I feel like I'm oriented the wrong way or something.
Yeah, and the important thing, and so like oh, I forgot to mention, when you're looking at that, I mentioned to you, but I didn't mention to our audience, that image that you're looking at, the blue marks windows and the red marks pallets.
Gotcha.
So that should be able to help you with the orientation.
Right. So this is the everything. It's so small for me.
You're good.
The jungle gym variation 1, right? Yes.
Yeah,
maybe.
I will tell you. And just yes, this is the variation of the jungle gym. The jungle gym variation 1. That is correct. They're both pretty similar, however, there's not much. The important thing is the window and the pallet, obviously, being able to loop in between these and get back and forth in between them. The variation 1 is technically the safer of the two variations because of where the window spawns. But the basic thing you want to do...
really strong window, right? Because there's long sides on either side.
Yeah, so the basic thing that you want to do is you want to be trying to loop in the, going around from the killer. You want to be trying to loop. I will eventually get Bloodlust that will help me catch up to you. And when that happens, you're going to want to start making your way towards the pallet. So I am getting a little bit of Bloodlust now. But basically you want to be trying to loop this as long as you possibly can.
Okay,
and then you got entity blocked. At that point, you would want to head to the pallet if you got entity blocked. But the thing is, you want to be trying to, you want to be trying to save the pallet as long as possible by using that window as long as possible. Killers are, like a good killer will be able to preemptively predict the window vault and may be able to pull some mind games like going around it. Oh, you picked the pallet up. Good. You want to heal yourself? Yeah. And they'll go around it to cut off the survivor's distance. And this pallet again is extremely safe when thrown. So real quick, let's talk about what makes a pallet safe versus unsafe. Do you know what makes it?
I'm gonna turn my volume down a little bit for the game, just because the terror radius is so loud for me.
Oh, sorry. I wish I could turn my terror radius off. That'd be great.
There we go.
Cool.
It's still really loud, but that's fine. You're louder than it now.
That's good. All right. So do you know what makes a pallet safe versus unsafe?
Essentially, in my mind, what I understand of it is like how easily a killer can like go around it. Like something like this, there's big old long stretches of wall around either side of it, so it's a pretty strong pallet.
So yeah, pretty strong pallet. You could, if you throw that pallet, let's do this. Let's go around. Chase is normal. When you throw that pallet, you'll be able to loop around. Yeah, you'll be able to loop around it. Not a lot that I can do, even if I was to get up to Bloodlust 3 exactly. So again, this is one of the pallets that we just want to kick and break and get out of the way as killer. And then there's nothing you can do. You're trapped.
So trapped.
But yeah, so pallet safety. That's important to be able to identify. Let's just go find a regular pallet out in the middle of nowhere. Let's come
There's
over.
one right over here.
There is one, but I don't want that one. I want a different one.
Okay. Okay, this one right here.
Here's this one. So this one is most pallets. So pallets range anywhere from safe to unsafe. Most pallets fall into the, middle. However, they don't actually, they're like, if played very well, you can loop around them for a long time. But if but overall, you probably will be able to get, the killer will probably be able to get a hit on you eventually. So this pallet is of middling safety. It's not, the walls aren't overly long that the killer can, isn't able to get around them pretty easily.
So this is one that's not really a huge deal for you to break.
Exactly. So it's actually one, yeah, so like I could break it, basically you decide you want to break it. As the killer, you have to decide, look at how the survivor is playing it. And if the survivor is playing it extremely well, you want to break it. But if you think that the survivor, after a few pallets, you'll be able to tell. If you think the survivor is not super well, not super good, not super well at preserving their pallets, you probably could try mind games around it. And
caught in the corner.
Yep, all the time.
Oh no.
All right.
Getting caught up on.
Now, what type of thing are we in currently?
This is another one of those just short side ones.
Yeah, this is another one of the single pallet tiles. Yep.
No.
Every time I start chasing you tonight, I'm gonna say which pallet are we in. All right, now this one. This one is a safe pallet. Again, another safe pallet, and because it has a long side. Now, the important thing about a long side, however, is that it's not so overly long that the killer will be able to catch up if they're in bloodlust. You want to be able to be taking the corners so that way you can be turning and getting over the, the pallet. Yep. So as the survivor, you want to be going around to the long sides. If I try to play around the short sides, you just keep going, you just change the direction of the chase back into the short side, onto the long side. You control the direction of the chase here, which is, not always the case. Awesome. Any questions so far about anything we have talked about?
Only, this is not specifically about any of the things, but there are some people here asking if we can get this later, because it will also help them with like killer and stuff too. I think maybe, are you planning on putting these up on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I can totally put these up on my YouTube channel. Definitely. I
would say
I am planning. I am going to be making my Survive in the Fog series that I will talk about this kind of stuff. But I can totally put this up. Clip this on my Twitch and put it up on my YouTube as well.
Yeah, because I think it probably is more enjoyable to watch from your side because you don't have the terror radius like blasting through your ears the whole time.
That's fair. That is fair.
Get back!
Cool. All right. Let's see. Let's come walk over the last few structures. I want to see if there's any different structures. Okay, this is different. This is a new. I mean, it's a variation of one that we've talked about before.
Right. This is the other jungle gym one.
Yeah, this is the other jungle gym one. Exactly. So let me throw up that image on my stream. Causes it to lag out every time I try to throw that image. Anyway, so the other jungle gym. And so this is variation 2. This is what is commonly referred to as the short wall jungle gym because the window is along a shorter wall, but still a very safe window. Should be played almost exactly as the other. However, the advantage the killer has here is lack of line of sight. The killer can, you don't have as much vision on the killer, and the killer can do things like what I just did to be able to come. How did I walk straight through you?
Maybe you still had collision off after the hit.
Maybe I still had collision off after the hit. But yeah, you can walk through, you can use the line of sight to play mind games a little here. So it's not as safe as the other one. But again, the pallet is still extremely safe because while this wall is shorter, that one is shorter. This one is pretty long. You can loop around here forever if the killer doesn't break it.
So like the general direction would be to be coming around this way though, because it's so much harder to get a fast vault coming around this way.
Yes, exactly. Yep, you want those fast vaults. That's the important thing about, is trying to get those fast vaults. I was not expecting that pallet drop.
My favorite thing, the spookum drops.
I'm gonna go see if I can find. I think
we might have gone through like all the tiles.
I think we've gone through all the tiles on this map. We might need to go to a different map now. And find another, because I'm surprised there wasn't an LT wall here, but we did talk about LT wall last week.
A little bit last week. Yeah. The asylum maps might be a decent
so
one.
we do want to go to the asylum map because four walls, the four walls, it's worth noting that when the pallet is not thrown yet, survivor can't gather info on any mind games between the cracks of the hay bale. Thank you. Yeah, nibs. So we do want to go to the asylum because the four walls type of tile only spawns on the asylum and Auto Haven maps. There are a lot of Auto Haven maps, so you'll probably play on Auto Haven. So I think we'll head to the asylum because it has generally more structures because it's a bigger map. Let's go to the Disturbed Ward.
I love that map. It's so pretty.
It's a great map.
It's so pretty.
I was very happy when I learned that they were gonna, update its graphics.
Chat, if you have any questions, you can drop them in my chat or in Patrick's, and we'll try and keep up. Yeah. Hey Maria, how are you doing?
I do have like 3 different windows pulled up that I'm looking at, like my notes plus the images plus so I will get to the chat. It just takes me. It'll take me a little bit. It'll take me a little bit longer. Because I gotta do things.
And just a reminder to people in chat, in about half an hour or whenever we start feeling like we've learned enough, we'll jump in. You guys can jump in too, and we'll start doing stuff together.
Yep.
Though.
Yep. If we get enough people, I will be the killer, and I will purposely try to put you in the situations where we can apply what we've learned. All right, let's see. Okay, I am currently at a 4-wall. If you want to come try to find me, we can talk about this 4-wall.
Yeah, I spawned right next to the hatch and an LT wall.
There you go.
Okay.
I just need to identify what type of 4-wall this is with a click. Because I'm not. 4-wall is a little bit difficult to identify because they look so similar. Okay, so pallet is here.
This is the bad one, right?
I am. This is the bad one. This is the bad pallet 4-wall. All right. So again, 4 walls only spawn on Auto Haven and Asylum maps. The bad pallet is of middle. The 4-wall, which we are looking at, is of middling strength. The way you can identify it is the pallet will be here. If you come through the pallet, there's 1 gap, 2 gaps, and then this window right here. So it's of middling strength because the pallet is super dangerous, easy hits for the killer. If I come through here, I can come around this side, this short side very easily. This wall is long, but it's long and straight enough, and then to get to the pallet, that I can easily get a hit. That's what we were talking about. With pallet strength, long enough that you can be able to get around it, but not so long that the killer can catch up easily in Bloodlust.
So then, what's the tactic for running this one?
The tactic for running this one is to obviously you want to drop the pallet, and then you want to get to this window, and then you want to leave. This is one of those ones that you really don't want to be in. Like, if a killer, you could keep a killer here pretty busy if you have enough of a lead. But due to the fact that you really can't see what's going on beside this wall, killer has lots of opportunity for mind games. And so it's, not a lot you can do. Killer probably most likely will also break the pallet as soon as possible. All right. Okay. Any additional questions? I guess, yeah, like it's of middling strength. It's not the same, not too much, it's this isn't the greatest variation of the 4-wall. All right, let's go see if we can find another one. I'm hoping we can find a different 4-wall, the other 4-wall, but we'll see.
So fast.
I am the killer. All right, this is an LT wall, right? No, this is a single pallet.
This is a single pallet.
Okay. Yep, single pallet.
I think I saw a 4-wall over here.
Okay, let's come over here.
Yeah, over here in the back there's a 4-wall. This is the other kind. Yeah, this is the other kind.
And the way you can tell is because the window is in the middle. So being it, you can get from the pallet to the window a lot easier and be able to loop around and run around.
Still not a ton of times that you can loop it unless you drop it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like the 4-wall isn't necessarily the greatest. And again, like you can see right there, again, just a misprediction can get the killer an easy hit. But like, it's not bad. It's definitely not the greatest of tiles. You can see that you're able to make it from the window to the pallet with little ease. With great ease, not little ease, great ease. I totally lost you.
I'm here.
There you go. But so yeah, this is the middle. This is the good pallet variation. And again, once the entity blocker hits, your best bet is to try to get out of there as soon as possible.
Okay.
I remember back when there wasn't an entity blocker, and you could, if you were really, really good, you could be at Windows forever. Let's see. What other tiles do we have? So we do have the shack. We can talk a little bit about the shack. So, as we talked a little bit about last week, the shack has a very strong window and what is called the God pallet. However, that does not mean it is an infinite. You don't need to force the entity blocker to be good with it. When the pallet is thrown, you can pretty much stay near it without repercussion. So like, go ahead and throw the pallet. If I come around over here, you can just sit at the pallet. Don't run away from the pallet. I come over here, you're able to vault for him to get a hit. I come back, loop around this side. Yep, and you vault back over. Exactly. So unless it's broken, can you pick it up with the by any means? Yes. There we go. You can pick, exactly. However, it is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, pallet in the game. So do not throw it unless you absolutely have to. So if the killer's like right on your tail, as Nibs has bemoaned many a times in our match, is hey, who threw my pallet?
Pallet.
But the basic thing here is, trying to use this window as much as possible. Using the window to help you get information of how the freak.
Ooh. Oh no.
Ships. Trying to use the window to get you as much information as possible. And looking through the window as you are trying to get, waiting for what am I waiting on?
Oh, I wanted to slay me on it.
You can pick up the pallet with a specific perk, Canuck. It is called By Any Means Necessary. It is a UE perk. So if you have UE and have unlocked your perk, you can pick up the pallet. It's not just a thing you can always do. Thank goodness.
Yeah, you see, if you're on my screen, my bottom perk is like there's a cooldown to it, so it's like red right now. Yeah, exactly.
So it's a cooldown, and it really isn't a great perk. We're using it for the purpose of trying not to waste pallets, like we did last week, where we just had to keep restarting matches because we used so many pallets. But yeah, so it's not really a great perk because 9 times out of 10 the killer's just gonna break the pallet anyway. You've never seen anyone do it. But yeah, because it's not a great perk. All right. Cool. Any questions about the shack? We did go over the shack quite a lot last time.
I think not. What?
But yeah, exactly. Right there was an excellent time to use the pallet. You really didn't have anything else to do. You couldn't make it to the window. Exactly. All right, let's see. Do we have any other things? I'm gonna go look at some of the other tiles and see if we can identify anything else. This
Pallet being all wiggly applies to any means necessary too.
This is an LT wall. This is a jungle gym variation 1. Okay, let's go to the LT wall. So we talked about clockwise last week when we were talking about the LT wall, and then I realized I didn't know how to identify what clockwise was. The way that you identify by clockwise when you get an LT wall, because that's the way you want to run it as the survivor, is you use the T wall as north. So this is the T wall right here. The T wall is the top of the clock. So you want to run clockwise around the L wall. But the killer has, you know, again, it's not, this is a, you know, probably like, it's super strong when it's next to other loops. So like this would be it, this would be a pretty strong LT wall, because it's next to this single, you know, this jungle gym. So you could use both in conjunction, but the LT wall, when it's isolated, is very, very weak. Because the killer can control the direction of the chase. All the killer has to do to change the direction of the chase is cut through the middle and force you to go around a different direction.
Gotcha.
So LT wall, great when it's next to something else, like if there's, even if it's like just another pallet over here. But you know, this would be particularly great because you could, you know, run in between the two. And yeah, there you go. Any questions about LT walls? Talk about the infinite tile. That is a Z wall ultimate killer's weakness. I actually don't know much about the Z wall. Like, it doesn't, I don't actually really know that much about the Z wall, and I haven't really seen it. It's not pretty common. And I've never actually met someone who actually knows how to run it effectively. And so I've actually never had any issues with the Z wall personally.
So I've got Ranger over here asking if you have any tips for running tiles against a trapper specifically. I imagine that's something that we'll eventually do of like counterplay to every killer.
The trapper, the biggest thing is watch your toes. Be careful when running through the grass. The trapper is really the most basic of killers because he's just 115, very first killer that was spawned, you know, made. Good old Chuckles. But just watch your toes, you know, leave tiles, you know, as a trapper.
Hit me, by the way. You can hit me.
I'm okay at the moment. As a trapper, you want to be carrying. So, like, for example, I see that she is over. I'm carrying a trap. I'm going to put and break that loop. And then you're just going to want to run away to a different loop. While he is putting down his trap, you know, to break that loop, you know, if he is, run away. If he's had time to set up, like the big thing about a trapper is don't give them the time they need to set up. You know, be on your gens, be efficient. If the trapper is able to set up, you are in a lot of trouble.
There's nothing around here.
Yep.
Nothing.
Sometimes a pallet spawns there. Sometimes, a lot of times, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, we will be, you know, if you have a specific thing you want to see us cover, let us know, and we can definitely cover it in the next dojo. Unless Lydia has something specific that she wants to cover. But like, so yeah, we will be talking about killers and how to play against specific killers, as well as how to play as them. Ah, yes, the Z wall.
My goodness, this is the worst thing in the world. I'm sneaky. I'm Sneaky Meg.
The best Z wall. It's really not that great.
It's an itty bitty Z wall. Oh no, he's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
so let's just get healed. Let's go to the shack. I placed my trap in the entirely wrong spot and walked into it, and then let's run and see how you do. The last little bit.
Okay.
All right, so you start.
All right. Man, I'm still fixing.
Oh, you're good. It's an infinite, kind of.
I think the bigger ones can be, right? Like, it's the little ones, not so much. Like the ones on Yamaoka, I think are a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But again, we're talking about the super common tiles. Okay, I am ready. Start your running.
Oh no, he's so scary. All right.
Sorry. At that point, you wanted to have been looking out the window, trying to see what I was doing.
Ah, jeez. That was really bad. That was really bad.
Take you back to the shack and try that again.
Yes. I mean, I'll eventually need to wiggle off. Unless
Well,
you have a trap set down somewhere.
Start wiggling off, and then I will, and then let yourself heal. And again, like knowing this stuff and hearing this stuff is one thing. Putting it into application, of course, is always an entirely different thing.
Yeah.
You know, it takes hours and hours and hours of practice. Like the best Dead by Daylight players have 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 hours in the game. They're wonderful nibs. This is one of those people. Yep, exactly. Using that window to see what I am doing. And make your decision based upon what you can see me do. Yup, there you go.
And also hear you breathing a little bit. That helps.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Like using what you can hear about the killer, what you know about the killer to help you make your decisions. Alright, well, bye, Shack Fella.
Well, I can fix it. But you don't want
Too
it.
late. It's time. Shack Fella, it's time. I'll let you get out of the trap. That wasn't intentional, obviously. The trap was there to demonstrate a point earlier, not to actually be.
I mean, it very much demonstrated a point, though. Like, careful where like this is the saying. You have to be careful where he's been. Oh, it let me keep my heels. Okay, all right.
That's nice.
You can chase me again. I will run away now.
All right, you're running in the bad direction.
Yeah, I know. Took the wrong way.
Well, that's okay. And it was kind of hard to start running the right way because I feel like I would have caught up to you either way there, from this direction.
Ah! You got a trap on the ground.
I don't have a trap on the ground anymore. I can
Wrecked.
actually set one real quick.
Wasn't watching my toes. Yeah. Alright.
Alright, let's have you do this loop again as if you were coming from the shack.
Gotcha.
Feel like a theater director. Take that from the top. Alright, so I'll go. You just dropped the pallet. I'll wait here a few seconds like I'm breaking it.
Alright, I'm going.
Follow you. Okay. Nope. I'll wait a second. Alright, cool. Now following you.
Okay. Oh, jeez. You freaking scary man.
There's a jet flying over my house. I apologize to anyone in chat who heard that. That was really loud.
This is a terrible thing that I'm doing to myself. You didn't follow me!
Nope, I was trying to mind game you. Alright. Temptation to put you on a hook is so strong. Just laugh. I won't do it.
Yeah, usually we're on the same team. You don't kill me. Alright, I'm gonna run through this loop. See you, bye. Alright. Oh no! Not the killer vault.
Yep, and then now you start using these two tiles together, and you can, you know, since you saw that I'm cutting you off counterclockwise, vault through there if you can. Will I be able to? Oh, I did not expect to actually make that. I did not think that lunge would hit you, but it was good because then you could use, you know, you can use these three windows the way they're hooked up together. Let me put a crap down real quick to, you know, basically be able to vault between them all infinitely.
I'm gonna use up the last of my med kit, and then I can self-care the rest of the way. Okay. Eek! He's chasing me! He's chasing me! But I can't really do much through here. Don't know why I'm coming back here.
Yep, now that...
Silly. Oh, drat.
You sound so disappointed.
Well, because it's like the second I go back to vault through the other window, it's like, and he's gonna be right there on the other side. Which, of course, he is.
All right, what type of pallet strength was this? Before
I think it's like a medium-y.
Yeah, this is probably me. I would actually put it on the stronger side.
Yeah, a little bit of stronger than medium.
Because of the angle of that one wall. If they both had been like straight, then I would have put it as more medium, but definitely stronger because the wall was angled.
Aw, dang it.
Yep. All right. Okay, well, there we go. This is the basics of tiles, and obviously there's more complicated stuff. There are some unique tiles on lots of maps. Oh yeah, this is the basics. Just a few more things I wanted to cover before we hopped into playing with people. When it comes to pallets, as a killer, I know the temptation to let's see if I can find one. Let's pretend that there is a pallet like right here, like in here.
Mm-hmm.
The short side, long side. The killer's running around the long. I mean, the survivor's running around the long side. What you want to do is you want to just. I know the temptation to go back and turn around, like backpedal, moonwalk to try to get a hit, or turn around is super strong. Your best bet, although honestly, is to just keep running around this side until you force the pallet to be dropped, so you can kick it and get it out of the game. Cool. There was. Sorry, we're gonna go back to. So we have 8 minutes. We're gonna go back to Cold Wind briefly to get some pallet tiles, and actually there's a few more things I wanted to talk about that I realized I didn't talk about when we talked about them initially. All right, and then we can get people to hop in and put this all to test.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I do feel like this is like having the explanation, even just the basics of like what is a strong and a weak palette, what is a strong and a weak window, like that's very, very helpful because like you hear those terms get thrown around a lot without any real explanation of what on earth that means. Which like that's just the hazard of this game in general. If, like there's a lot of slang and a lot of stuff that gets thrown around without any explanation.
Yep, and knowing what that all means is very important.
All right. So for my lovely people who are in the queue, we've got Chaotic and Joker, Nibs, and Ranger in that order. If you're still here, say so. If not, like if I don't see you post in the chat in the next like 10 minutes before we get into a game, I will remove you from the queue because I'll assume you're not here.
Okay, so pallets. There's a lot of different strategies that can be used when it comes to playing a pallet. The number of pallets that spawn on the map is extremely limited, obviously, unless you are playing on the game, in which case it seems like there's always pallets. Even when you thought you got rid of all the pallets, there's still pallets. Just so many pallets on the game. So many.
Where'd you go?
Sorry, I'm trying to find a pallet that we can use to help them. We're trying to find a series of pallets. So anyway, the first, so there's a lot of things to know about pallets. You know, again, we come down to that jargon. I'm by the cow tree. Yep. So the first thing that you're gonna, as a new survivor, a baby survivor, the most basic thing that you're going to want, that you probably want to do as a survivor is kind of what, Lydia's not doing intentionally at the moment, but it's called pallet camping. Basically, you wait at the pallet until the survivor gets close enough, you drop the pallet on his face, and then you run off to the next pallet, and you do the same thing over and over again. This is a safer way to play, but it hurts your team in the long run, as it eats through the pallets, and a good survivor killer will just, boom, break the pallet, move on, bam, pallet camp, break the pallet, move on. It eats through the pallets and is not a great way to do it. So what you want to do is you want to be playing differently. You want to be doing the pallet looping here. Pick this pallet back up. This is a decently strong pallet. It has a long side. So if Lydia starts running on the long side and I start chasing after her, Yep. And let's say, yeah, if I was a little bit farther away, Lydia could have ran around that side, ran around that side forever. Not forever, but for a long time until my bloodlust kicked in and I was able to catch up. The way looping works is you want to try to keep distance from the killer and mirror their actions. So if you notice that the killer is turned around, you want to try to turn around. Obviously, it requires you noticing it, like Lydia did.
Yeah.
That's okay. So, and then you want to be doing that because if you just mirror their actions, it'll take a while for them to catch up. Is your by any means necessary back so you can pick up this pallet? Okay. All right. I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna start chasing you as if
Soups, yeah, I'm really sorry. iOS apps don't work on my stream right now. I am trying to figure it out, but if there is like a way that you can, hang on. I need to send. Twitch gave me like a link that you guys can basically go to like complain and say that it's not working.
So come over to the cow tree when you can, Lydia. Vault the cow tree pallet and then run towards that pallet that we were just at. And I'll break the pallet so that way it's as if, simulated as if you're getting distance from me breaking this pallet, and then you can try looping around it.
Okay, okay, there we go.
All right. So one of the things as killer that you don't want to do is you don't want to do what's called, so I'm going to do it a few times actually, sorry, to demonstrate it, is what's called respecting the pallet. So it's where I come and I stop anticipating the stun. It's because I'm anticipating this stun. What that allows is it allows, if you respect the pallet, sure, you don't get stunned, but a good survivor will, punish you for that. They'll keep running, and then they'll be able to get another loop out of the pallet. You can, cow shed.
Oh, I ran off the wrong silly way. Ow!
You're good. Yeah, and this one is pretty decent and strong. This one is one that the killer would just need to break. And then you run off to another pallet. So what we really need you to practice is looping the pallet for as long as you can before you have to drop it.
Okay. This one is like medium-y.
Yeah, this one will work. So I'm going to respect the pallet, and you see it gives her enough time. Where? I cannot even see it.
I'm so fast. I'm such a meg.
Yeah, you see me respecting the pallet. I stop. It allows her to keep going around this loop because I'm expecting her to be able. Now she drops it. She didn't really have much of a choice there. And then this one, yep, medium strengthy. I totally just got a grab on you. And then I got canceled out of it. But yeah, medium strength. Not a lot to do here. All right, that's really all I wanted to talk about when it came to pallets. Was just the importance of trying to preserve the pallets as long as possible. As a killer, not respecting the pallets, just taking your swings through them because it guarantees the pallet will get dropped, gets out of the game, and you will be able to get your you get your hit. Sometimes you'll even get a hit out of it, depending on the latency of the game at the time. Particularly if you're playing against newer survivors who are expecting you to respect the pallet. If you have concerns about respecting the pallet, perks you can run are things like enduring. That will let you respect the, help you get the pallet. Things, help you not stunned. You'll be stunned shorter at the pallet. You could run Spirit Fury. You can run Brutal Strength, break pallets faster. If you're overly concerned about how to use the pallets, which is perfectly fine. There are still some killers that I run Brutal Strength on because sometimes I just need to get the pallet out of the way. All right, cool. Well, let's get the people in the queue in the game, and then I will switch to all maps.